Hi everyone, welcome to Table for Two. I am the Elusive Bigfoot.
And I'm Onezie.
And today we are going over the top 5 games that are for parties. So when I made this list, I looked at what is really easy to explain or teach, especially for people who maybe don't necessarily play party games, something that would just be super fun, maybe needs 5 or more players, or could have 5 or more players or teams. Did you use anything else for your criteria?
Things that are easy, things that could be on teams, because you might get a lot of people.
Yeah, it accommodates a lot of people for sure. Okay, with that, let's dive in. So, the first game I want to talk about is something called Zombiedice. It is a very easy dice rolling game where you push your luck. You're trying to get more brains before you get 3 shotguns. Once you get 3 shotguns, your turn ends and you lose everything that all the brains you may have banked, and it moves on to the next person. And I especially love playing with the Horde, which is the expansions. There's different expansions. There's a big die that is the school bus. There's also the hero and the hottie where they can rescue each other if they get captured as brains. And then there's a Santa Claus die. So that's mine.
Zombiedice.
Zombiedice.
All right. So my one of the ones I want to mention as a good party game is Rough.
Oh, nice.
So,
I actually mentioned that one too.
Okay. So since we play most of our games as 2-player games, this one is only a party game for us. So
well, it since it's player elimination, you kind of have to have more players. I've played this with as many as 20, 25 people. It is definitely accommodates quite a large group.
And it's well named because it is rough. If you're the first person out, then you played one
right
one card.
But the questions for the player elimination can be as simple as you're given a task and you have to pick somebody that you want them to do, like balance a quarter on end. But there's no rules to it. So the way that I win that one generally is I just put a cup or something heavy next to it and I lay a quarter against it. I'm like, now it's on end and that counts. Or maybe everyone has to show their driver's license and see who is the youngest, and then that person is out. So it's a fun game. It's a lot of laughs. That's Rough.
Rough. So what's your next one?
Another one that I have on here is Hues and Cues. It's a game where you get a card and it's got 2 different colors on this giant grid of colors, and you want to get someone as close, if not on, that specific color. And you've got like this almost like a fence, this boundary that you can put around it so that if they land within that, you still get some points, and you're just giving them color hints, such as maybe it's a happy ogre or it's a soft ube, which would be like a light purple. And so you're just trying to guide them to get closer and closer to the color that you're trying to get them to guess.
Does it have colors like brown and green?
Well, it's pretty specific because there's a whole bunch of browns on there. How you get them to say your specific brown?
I don't think I would recognize ube.
Yeah. She also had a hard time getting everyone to guess ube, but when I looked at it, I'm like, actually, she's right. It is soft ube.
All right. So that's Hues and Cues?
Hues and Cues.
Hues and Cues. All right.
Oh, and I do want to say this, that during the pandemic, we were playing this a lot online. We just shown a camera over the board, and this worked out great.
That might be another video for us to do. Games that do well over
I thought we did.
Over the internet.
I thought we did, but we could take a look at it for sure.
All right, my next game up is soclover.
Oh, nice.
So soclover is a word game, and there are clover-shaped plastic boards, and you fit cards with words on them, and you try to come up with a word that connects the words together. Like one word might say dishes, and the other
over on this one,
and then the other word might say soap or something like that. So you might write dawn, you know, because that's a dish of soap,
A
right?
dish of soap.
And then later, when the cards get mixed up, people will look at the clue dawn, and they'll have to figure out.
Like they're thinking maybe in the morning, oh look, here's a card that says daybreak, and they'll think that was it. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that was a word. No, that's not
Right,
it.
right. So it's a word game, and the reason I like this as a party game, you can play it as individual players, but you can also just play it in teams.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a clue giver, and then the rest of your team tries to figure out what the right answer is. So no matter how many people you have at your party, you can all play a word game together. Soclover.
Soclover. My next game is Cartographers. It's a game where everyone is given a grid with certain symbols on it, like maybe it has a mountain or a cavern or a forest or something, and then you're given certain things that you need to draw onto your map in a certain shape. So as you're doing that, you don't know what's coming up necessarily, so you try to fit everything on there, but you know what maybe some of the objectives are. So as you're playing this, there are certain things that are going to happen where you have to pass your paper to the right, and then they're going to draw something on your map, and it's like, they just really messed me up from getting these points over here. But what I love about it is like one to many. Any number of people can play this as long as you've got the pads and you got the pencils. Everyone plays the game. So much fun. That is Cartographers.
Cartographers. All right. My next one up is Dude.
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 Dude?
So Dude, it's a card game, and all of the cards just have the word dude printed on them. And everyone draws a card and looks at each other and says dude.
The only word you're allowed to say is dude.
But you have to say it in a way, it's written differently on the card. So it might be dude in little tiny letters. You might say dude. You know, or it might be like a psychedelic looking card. You might say dude or something like that. Right. So
and then in more dude, it's a picture.
Yeah, there's an expansion of Dude.
There's a couple. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and this is a fun game. It just sort of lightens everybody up. Doesn't take long to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dude.
Love that game. All right, I just have one left. How about you?
I have two left.
Okay, why don't you do another one then?
How did that happen? Okay.
You probably had the same word or same game.
Codenames is up next for me.
That's my number one.
Codenames. So Codenames, you can also play it in teams, right? And you lay out a bunch of cards with words on them, and the clue giver tries to come up with a word that will connect as many cards as possible. And then the team has to guess which cards are correct. They have a little grid that they're looking at. They have to make sure that their team guesses the right cards. If they guess the wrong cards, they'll lose, or the other team will get points.
Right.
So
sometimes if you guess the wrong one, it might be a card that belonged to the opposite team, or it could be the assassin, which means nobody wins now, or it could be an innocent bystander, and your turn ends and it goes to the next team.
Codenames.
Okay, well, that was my number one. So what do you have for your number one?
Okay, my number one is Game of Things.
Oh, okay.
Game of Things is another word game. You get a card with something written on it, and then a person, you take turns reading what's on the card, and everybody else has to write down what they think the card means. So it might say something like things you would not want to be known for, right? And people would have to write down things they wouldn't want to be known for. And then you turn in all the pieces of paper to the card reader. Card reader reads them one at a time and asks you, who do you think wrote this? You know.
And you gain points every time you were right.
Right. So you might not want to be known for losing at board games. Who wrote that one?
All of us.
Right, so that was my number one.
All right, so that was our top 5 party games mostly in no particular order. You found out our top pick. And so please let us know in the comments, what are your favorite top party games? So we can give those a try, especially for the season coming up. And so with that, I am the Elusive Bigfoot.
And I'm Onezie.
Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.